Good morning everyone, welcome to the Faithful You YouTube channel. My name's Hazel and I'm coming to you from Wales, mid Wales. It's a beautiful day today and I've been out looking for lambs on the hill at the back. I've had a few sightings of a couple of twins. I've also seen a barn owl, which has been great. I've not seen a barn owl before, and especially in the daytime. I didn't know they came out in the daytime, so yeah, it's been lovely. I've been trying to find somewhere to film out the wind, and everywhere I go, it doesn't matter how much shelter I have, it's wind, wind, wind. So excuse me if there's a lot of wind noise in this video, but I have tried my best to get out the wind. But I wanted to bring you out into the beautiful view that is around me and share it with you a little bit. I'm wearing my Maja cardigan today, which I haven't worn before, and to tell you the truth, it's been absolutely brilliant. I knit it out of Icelandic wool, let Lopi, and do you know, it's really warm in this wind. I've never used Lopi before, let Lopi before, and it was a little bit tight when I put it on, but the more I've been moving around in it and the more I've been using it, it's been really good. It's really loosened up nicely, so I'll definitely wear it again. I've got my buttons on it, which I make myself, so I'll put a clip in of those for you and let you see them. But yeah, it's a really good jumper. I really enjoyed knitting it. It took me probably about a month from start to finish. But I did have a big lull in the meantime because I lost my mojo for knitting, and yeah, it took me a while to pick it back up again, especially in the summer because I had such a lot to do in the garden last year, so with it being our first year in our new house, so yeah, I didn't do a lot of knitting, and I certainly haven't done a lot of craft either. But yeah, I just thought that I would come out and do another catch up with you and let you see where some of the beautiful scenery and where I live. So I wanted to show you some of the lambs, which I've got some footage to show you, and when I get back home I'll sit on the bench and we'll have a proper catch up, and I'll show you what I've been knitting and what I'm working on. Also, I've got a shop update for you as well, so I just thought I'd show you some of the views. I thought I'd take you out for a little walk with me and show you a bit of where I live. So the next place I'm going to go to now is the river, so I'll do some footage of that for you as well, and then I'm going to go back home and have my breakfast, so I'll see you soon. Yeah, I'm back again, as it was far too windy for me to carry on recording that day, so it's now Monday. That was Tuesday last week, so yeah, it's taken me a few days to be able to get round to getting back in front of the camera to finish recording the episode for you. So in the last part of my video I'd been knitting the Maja cardigan, so I won't go through that again because I've already done it. So this was the Maja cardigan, this one. It's a beautiful pattern, beautiful cardigan, not much more to say than what I said when I was up the hill. But I did want to show you some of my handmade buttons. These are what I make, and they're in my Etsy shop. I make them from Welsh slate that I get from the riverbed, from the river down the road, and from the local beach. I go around collecting and foraging and look for unique stones that no two are the same. I try to get them the same size so that when you're doing the buttonholes on your cardigan or when you're sewing, that you can use the same size buttons, but none of them will be the same shape because obviously the water and the river and in the sea has fashioned the stones to be the shape that they are. So yeah, so they're my handmade buttons. They are waterproofed as well, so, and I think yeah, they are a nice addition to any cardigan that you're going to knit. So as you can see, I don't know whether you can see, but yeah, they're my handmade buttons, so they are available in my Etsy shop as well. This was the Magnolia bloom sweater that I've knit. It was a lovely pattern to knit, didn't take that long, possibly a month from start to finish. I've knit it in my favourite yarn, which is Gotland. Yeah, it's a beautiful wool that I bought in the Isle of Skye about 17 years ago when we first visited in 2005. It was from the Shills a Day Yarns as it was then, but now it's owned by Kirsty, it's now called the Skye Wool Company, I think. But it was a lovely wool. It was a Gotland, as I say, and it's one of my favourite wools because it's so easy to wear, it's so easy to knit, it's so easy to use. So yeah, that's what I've knit the main part of the body out of. It does have bobbles on it, which was my first time doing bobbles. I'm not sure I did them right, I'm not sure that they look nice, but it's a really nice jumper to wear. I really enjoy wearing it. The sleeves were knit in hand spun Shetland, and so was the neck, which is why it's a slightly different colour, and so was the waistband as well. It is a cropped sweater, so it just sits sort of here on your hips. But yeah, I really enjoy wearing this sweater. So sadly the weather, well not sadly, but the weather's gone too warm for it now, so I'll have to wait to wear it next winter instead, because it is extremely warm. We are forecast snow next week, so maybe I'll get the opportunity to wear it again. So yeah, that's the Magnolia Bloom, and that one is by, I'm just checking my notes, Camilla Vad, and it's a pattern on Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern, but it was only about £6 I think to buy, and I definitely would knit it again. I'd like to knit it in some hand spun next time, so I might do another one for next winter. So that was the Magnolia sweater, Magnolia Bloom sweater. That's all the finished objects I've got for you for today. I have got other finished objects that I've got in the house. There's a Kate Davis cardigan, which I'll show you next week. That was in the West Highland Way book, but I've got loads of ends to sew in and the buttons to put on yet, and the neckbands to sort out, so it's not quite finished. I'd like to show you that when it is completely finished, so I can actually wear it and show you what it's like on. But there's still a few things to do on that yet. I've got to decide what to do with the neckband, because the neckband is a bit baggy. I don't know why, I don't know what I've done that's wrong, but I need to sort that out. So I'm just deciding what to do with that, whether to put elastic in and tighten it in slightly, or whether maybe I can't undo it because I did the neckband before I did the button band, so I can't really undo it unless I undo the button band first. So yeah, I've got to decide what to do with that, so I'd rather show you that once it's more finished, or once it is finished and I'm actually able to wear it. It is slightly big, so I'm not going to block it. I didn't knit it in the specified wool that was in the book, but yeah, I just wanted to knit it in my hand spun. So the Shetland that I've used in the bottom of the Magnolia sweater is the same yarn that I've used to knit the Kate Davis cardigan. So I'll show you that next time. I have got some works in progress, excuse me, to show you. This one is the Gingerbread sweater, which is this one. It's knit out of some stash yarn that I've had for years, 20 years or so. It is knit from the top down. It's knit from the neckband at the top. It is a raglan sleeve. So I've never done one of them before, and I've never knit from top down before either. Oh yes, I have. I've done the Magnolia. This was only my second one. So yeah, it was a bit of a new experience for me doing a raglan as well, and being top down. Then you divide off for the sleeves, which I've done. I'm putting a stitch holder, and I'm just knitting down now to do the waistband. I'll probably just do it a little bit longer than the Magnolia sweater, maybe just to sit on my hips rather than be above the hips. It'd be nice just to have it just that little bit longer, to make my torso look a bit longer. But yeah, that's the Gingerbread sweater, and this is knit out of yarn that I've had in stash for 20 years maybe. So yeah, it's a 30% wool and 70% acrylic, but it's really soft and it was really nice to use. And I think it was either Serdar or Wendy, I can't remember, but it's a big 400-gram ball, and it's really good because you don't have to keep joining balls of yarn, so that's been a pleasurable experience. I've not done that before. It is German short rows round the front and round the back, which I've never done before either, until I did the Magnolia sweater, so that's a fairly new experience for me. And it does have one of my stitch markers on it, little toadstool stitch marker, which I love my toadstools, so yeah, it's a really good stitch marker to use as well. So yeah, so that's the Gingerbread sweater. The next one I've got for you is another Kate Davis pattern, because I like Kate Davis patterns. I love her patterns. I don't have the money at the moment to go buying 4-ply yarn, so I knit everything out of what I've actually got in my cupboard. This one is knit out of a rabbit wool Angora, which was hand spun, and I bought it at a craft fair. And I got loads of yarn, you can see that, and it was £1.25 a ball, so that's really nice. This is called the Observatory shawl. You can see the halo in that as well, blowing in the wind. You do the edging first, and then you pick up the stitches for the rest of the body. And there's 15 of those little bumps, and I think I've done 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I've done 8. So I've got 15, 8, 7 to do. And then I'll start doing the main part of the shawl that goes around your neck. It's a really, really soft yarn as well, so I'm looking forward to being able to wear that. But it's one of these patterns that, because of it's a lace, and I've not really done lace patterns before, it is a bit of one of those that you have to concentrate on, not be distracted, not have your mind on other things, be watching something easy on the internet or on the TV that you can actually keep up with the pattern with. But that's just the way my mind works, because I have so much going on in my head sometimes that easy patterns for me are easy for me to do of an evening. So this is more something that I have to sit down and concentrate on, hence it's been in my whip pile for about 2 years. So I do a bump here and there, and then I just put it down, and then when I'm in the mood for following a complicated pattern, I carry on and do another bump. So it may take a while for me to finish this project, but it's a really enjoyable project because it's a really enjoyable yarn. But it's a very fine yarn. Let me see if I can show you what the yarn's like. You can see it's a very fine yarn, knit on 3mm needles, lace pattern. So yeah, I do have to concentrate, and I'm not the best at concentrating on my knitting, so yeah, but that's a nice pattern to do. So that's my works in progress and my finished objects. I forgot to mention who those 2 patterns were by. The Gingerbread was by a free pattern on Ravelry. Gingerbread was a free pattern on Ravelry, and that's by Espas Tricot. It was a free pattern, as I say, and it's really easy to do. So if you're looking for something to learn top down, it's a good pattern to start with, because it's just basic stocking stitch and rib stitch when you get to the neck and the cuffs and the bottom. So it's a really easy pattern to do. And as I say, the Observatory shawl was a Kate Davis pattern as well, and the Maja pattern is a free pattern on Ravelry as well, knitting Let Lopey, and that one's by Jarbo patterns as well. So yeah, they've been really good. I've set myself a project and a task for this year, and my task is that I'm only going to knit using wool in my stash. I decided that I was spending far too much money on yarn, just to be able to use the yarn that was 100% wool and that was fashionable and that everybody else was using, and it was becoming a bit of a expensive hobby and also a bit of a bind as well, and I thought I was just becoming a yarn snob. So I've decided to set myself a challenge for this year, which I'm 3 months in, and I haven't spent any money on yarn. Everything that I'm knitting from stash. As I say, the gingerbread sweater I knit from stash, which was 20 years old. I got that in 2001, I think, or 2000, when I worked in a wool shop. The wool for the Maja cardigan I knit from Sky Wool, which is always a pleasure for me because I love their wool. I love Shills a Day yarns. Unfortunately, I've not had a chance to go and visit it since Kirsty took over, but I do love her yarns, and I have quite a lot in my stash. I love the fact that they're natural dyed. I love the fact that they are always so soft and so easy to use, and I'm looking forward to being able to knit some patterns from them, because I do have quite a bit of 4-ply from there. I have a couple of jumper weights of yarn from there as well, so I just need to find the right patterns for them, because the thing is, when you go shopping for wool, you always have this buzz where you squish the wool, you sniff the wool, and it just gives you such a buzz. I don't know whether it's just me, but it just gives me such a buzz when I find a yarn and I have a pattern in mind to be able to put with that yarn, but then the novelty wears off, or I get distracted and I get busy, and it just sits in my stash, and some of it's been there for years and never been used. I mean, I started knitting over 20 years ago, seriously, and a lot of it's just sat in stash, never got used, because I wanted to use 100% wool. I have reinvested in some nice 100% wool, like Jameson and Smith and Jameson's of Shetland, because I do like their wool as well. So I don't want to be a yarn snob. I want to encourage everybody, wherever you are, whatever your budget is, to be able to knit. And I think it's a shame that, because of the snobbery that is out there towards yarns and being only able to use 100% wool, I think a lot of people feel that it's not something they can do because they don't want to invest the money in 100% wool, because it can be expensive when you're knitting a jumper, and it can cost you over £100 to buy the wool when it's 100% wool. And there are alternatives out there which are acrylic. Some of them can be soft as wool, and they are an awful lot cheaper to be able to knit a pattern, because you can get 100 grams of a 4-ply for £5 as opposed to 25 grams for £5. So yeah, I want to encourage everybody out there that if you want to learn to knit, if there's a pattern that you have in mind that you want to knit and you can't afford the wool that is in that particular pattern, you can do some maths and you can work it out, which I'll do a video about that one day, on how to use an alternative wool, buy the right amount, which you need to know the meterage basically, and that's it. Do a gauge swatch and make sure you use the right needle to get the pattern to look how it's supposed to look, and that's it. So yeah, you can use pretty much any 4-ply wool to any 4-ply pattern, as long as you buy the right meterage. So yeah, my challenge to me this year is, don't buy any wool. If you're going to shop for wool, shop from what you've got at home, shop from stash, and make the things that bring you joy with the wool that brought you joy when you bought it. Because you have invested your money in it, you have invested your time in buying it, you have invested, in a sense, your emotion in how you felt when you bought it. So even though wool for me sparks joy, and yes, I can spin it now, which means I can make my own garments from my hand spun yarn, which makes it so much cheaper for me, because I live in Wales, they're surrounded by sheep. I know lots of local farmers. I can get my wool by the fleece, by say 2 kilos of wool in one fleece, and spin it myself and make a jumper. And yes, it may take me longer, but I also get the pleasure of taking it from the farm to a finished garment, and that for me sparks joy as well. So yeah, you've got to find your place in what you want to do, and knitting for me has gone far beyond just making a cardigan. It's now gone to, I want to spin the wool myself, I want to wash the fleece myself, I want to be able to know where the wool has come from. The sheep that walked across the field, across the back of my house, I will wear the jumper in 2 or 3 years' time that's come off that sheep. So for me, that's what sparks joy, and at the moment I can't afford to buy wool from wool shops, so I want to be able to still knit, still enjoy my hobby, and while I have a house full of wool, it seems a perfect time to be able to use my stash and make something that I want to make, and maybe in time I'll make it again with some hand spun or with 100% wool. But yeah, that's my challenge this year. So maybe there's people out, maybe we could do that as a challenge here on the channel, and maybe we could do it together, where things being difficult the way they are for people financially, that we set the challenge of knitting from stash, only buying wool from our own stash, because I have it in suitcases in the cupboard, I have it in bags, I have it under the bed. So let's only knit from stash, and let's see what garments we can come up with. Share them on my Instagram page, hashtag FaithfulYou. You can share them on my Facebook page at FaithfulYou as well. And let's say at Christmas I'll do a draw, and I'll do some prizes as well from maybe some of my handmade items. I don't know, let's see, maybe some handmade buttons and some stitch markers. Let's see when we get there. But let's start the challenge. Let's set it as let's start it from the 1st of April and let it run through till the end of November, and then I'll do a competition and draw some names out of a hat and send out some prizes in time for Christmas. How does that sound? So yeah, let's do that as a challenge. I have done some spinning on that note after talking about local wool. I have spun some local Welsh Mountain. I think it was Welsh Mountain. No, it was Warbles, and it was from a sheep 10 miles, no further than 10 miles away from my home, because that is what I like to do, is use wool that I don't have to travel a long way for. I have farmers that I go to. One's about a mile down the road, one is about 3 miles down the road, there's another one I go to which is about 10 miles away, but that really is my furthest, is 10 miles. I have had stuff which was 20 miles away, but I don't use that now because I've used it already. So yeah, I tend to go no more than a 10-mile radius from my home. So this is a Warbles. Whether you can see that. It is. It's a lovely fleece. It's a bit of an orangey brown colour with a bit of grey. I've spun it chunky. Put that down. I've spun it chunky on my Ashford Kiwi. See? And I've got the jumbo flyer for that, so I can spin yarn for rugs, because this is going to be hand woven on one of my peg looms and made into rugs, which will then go into my Etsy shop. So yeah, I sat in the sun on Saturday and I spun that whilst looking at the view from the yard at the back of my house. So that was nice. So that was a Warbles. I just tend to try and use, when I make my rugs, I try to use the yarn consistently from one fleece instead of mixing the fleeces up together, because you can get so many varied colours from one fleece. I was just sorting some out today on the yard, and I found some Welsh Mountain fleece, but it was grey, it was gold, it was brown, it was black, there was bits that were bleached by the sun. And I know that I can pick apart those colours, wash them, spin them separate colours, or even mix them up together and then make them into a rug, and it will be the fleece off one sheep in one rug with all the colour variety that was actually in the fleece when the sheep was walking around the field. So I actually think that adds a bit of a life story of the sheep that goes into the finished item of the rug, that then somebody can put in their home and use in their home when it's got a bit of a story attached to it, instead of going to China or eBay or something and buying something that is mass produced, that has no soul and doesn't have any story to tell. So yeah, that's why I love what I do, because I can see the sheep walking around the field, say to the farmer, can I have that particular fleece? He'll shear the sheep and then I will give him some money for that fleece and I'll make it into something, and that's what I love about what I do. So yeah, I feel like I'm being very waffly today, but I just feel like I just want to give you some information about my hobby and try and inspire others to be able to do the hobby that I enjoy and that I love and that gives me so much joy. So that was the Warbles. This one is my favourite yarn, favourite fleece. This is a Gotland. I got this from Fibre Hut in a variety box that you get online. They come in £15, £20 and £25 boxes, I think. And they're just random assortment of fibres in the box, and you can get them for spinning, blending and felting. And these ones that I got a blending box, and it came with natural fibre in it, and this was one of those fibres, and it came with sparkle, with silk, got Gotland, I got Masham, I got all sorts of other things as well. And yeah, this Gotland is my favourite because it's so bouncy, it's so comfortable to use, it's comfortable to spin. It's a good outer wear wool because it's quite a robust wool. And yes, this is my hand spun Gotland. You can see the sparkle in that. I've spun it fine because I'm going to make it into a shawl. I think I might knit the happenstance shawl by Kate Davis. It's either going to be that one or another Gudrun Johnson hap. And I'm going to use all of what was in that blending pack, spin it into yarn, and then make it into a shawl for the winter. So I'm torn between the Kate Davis happenstance hap and the Gudrun Johnson hap. I've done the half hap in the past, and that's a really nice shawl to wear, and that's done in Gotland as well, and that was done in hand spun Gotland off sheep from round here. And it has gone a bit nice and loose, and it's opened up, and it's just a really nice comfortable shawl. It gives you a hug. So I thought I might try and do that with this, because I think I got Shetland, I got Masham, I got this, and Corriedale was the other one as well. So I think I'm just going to spin all that up. I might dye some of the Corriedale in a natural dye to put a bit of colour in, because the set's all natural colours, because it needs 4 colours, and then yeah, make it into a shawl. So I'll show you that once it's all been spun. I've spun the Shetland and I've spun the Gotland, so I've just got 2 more to do. So, and then I can start knitting the shawl. So yeah, that's the Gotland hand spun. So there are a couple of projects that I would like to knit that I thought I would share with you as well. One's called the Shepherdess Cardigan, and that one's by Joanna Farewell. I'm looking down at my notes, so forgive me. I just don't want to miss anyone else. I don't want to just show something and not say who it's by. So you can be encouraged to knit it yourself. And it's a cardigan with sheep in 3 rows around it in black and white sheep. So yeah, that's a really cute cardigan, so I thought I might have a go of that with some of the wool that I've got. Another one I wanted to knit was the Feel Le Burn sweater, and I think that one's by Andrea Mowry, and that was inspired by the mittens that Bernie Sanders wore at the presidential inauguration. So that's a fun sweater to do, and it's in natural colours. It's in brown and black and white, so I thought I could use some of my hand spun yarn from Stash to make that sweater. It's a short sleeve sweater, it's a crop sweater, it's not a tested pattern, it's free on Ravelry. So yeah, I thought I'd have a go at that with some of my hand spun yarn and maybe make it in a lighter weight yarn so I can wear it in the summer and the autumn. So that's another one I want to do. And the Birkin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. I've been wanting to knit that for ages, and I just haven't had the right yarn to be able to knit it. So it's still in my queue, it's still waiting for me to have the right yarn. So I think I might have to spin the yarn for that. I do have a fleece in mind that I got from a farmer just at the end of our lane, and he dropped it off for me in the summer last year, and he came with 3 bags and he said, do you want these? And just dropped them off and gave me them. So I spun some yarn, bit off each one, and gave that back to him for someone to knit him a hat out of. So that was a nice swap, I thought. I think I gave him 300 grams of hand spun yarn back in return for that, and his wife seemed happy as Larry with it. So yeah, so that was nice. So I've got one that's got 3 different colours in it. It's a black Welsh fleece. So I think I might try and spin that into a 4-ply and then make it into the Birkin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. It's beautiful. It's got a yoke here, it's knit from the top down, and it's got a flower and leaf design in the yoke, and I've seen it done in natural colours and it just looks so beautiful. So I might try a natural dyed 4-ply with that and do the flower in the 4-ply in a natural dye, because I'm going to get back into my natural dyes this year as well. We moved house 2 years ago in October, so it's about 18 months ago now, and I've just been so busy getting the garden organised. I've been putting a dye garden together and a food forest together in the garden, because we do have quite a decent sized garden for that, and I just haven't had the time to get my fleece and my dye pans and my flowers and everything else together to do that natural dyeing. So yeah, that's my project for the next few weeks while the weather's good, is get the dye pans out, go out looking for some flowers. I've got some ivy berries to go and get and some gorse flowers to go and get, which I'm going to get this week. And the daffodils, as they start dying off, I'll deadhead them and put them in water as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment. There's a lot of plans in the pipeline, because in my Etsy shop, I'll go on to shop stuff now. So if you're not interested in my shop update, so you were just here for the fibre stuff, then thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you next time hopefully. But I'll move on to the shop stuff now. In my Etsy shop, Faithful You, I put yarn kits together for weaving, and it comes with a little loom and some hand dyed yarns, which are commercial yarns for 100% wool. I buy them on the cone and then do them into little hanks, and then I dye them with plants, and I put them in the kits for sale. So yeah, I enjoy doing those yarns and putting them together, and they seem to have been quite popular, so that's been nice. It's just been something else that I can do with my hobby that I really enjoy, so that's been nice. I've also been doing some felting. I've been making a cowl, which I'm going to put into my shop. It's done with 100% wool from Welsh sheep, from the fleece that I get. It's done with Romney wool, which is really soft. It's really nice wool to use, and then I've dyed it with acid dyes in my garage. It does have locks in, some blue face Leicester locks in, which are from local sheep. Also has some sparkle in it. I don't know whether you can see the sparkle. It's higher at the back than at the front, which means you can wear it either way. It depends how you want to wear it. I'll just pop it on. That's the shortest side, so it'll keep you nice and snug in the winter. It does need softening up a bit. The more you shape it the way you want it shaped, it will soften up with the warmth of your hands. So yeah, that's my cowl, which is really, really nice and comfortable to wear, and that's the short side. And then you can wear it with the long side at the front if you want to, like that. So it's been really fun to make. It's really fun to wear as well, because when you've got your jumper around, it'll come right the way up to keep the drafts out and the cold out, and you can put it over your ears, and yeah, it's a really, really nice shawl cowl to wear. So I've done that. So that's going to go in my Etsy shop. I've just done the photographs for it, so that will go in my Etsy shop. Some of the colours as well, and the locks and the sparkle, and it's really nice. It's really fun to wear. On the inside it's got Shetland. Yeah, it's got Shetland on the inside. And the other thing I've been working on is I really enjoy doing these random scarves. Now this one's 3 meters long, and it has locks in it. It does have locks in it. It's got lots of different colours in. There's tassels. It's got tassels along the edges. Lots of colours. Hand spun. No. It's got sari silk. It's got some nice locks. Cotswold locks. Another one there. Getting fluff in my mouth now. What else have we got in here? We got some sari silk and some sparkle. So yeah, it's got Angora, goat. So it has a good assortment of yarns and colours, and as I say, it's 3 metres long. I got a bit carried away with the length. Yeah, we've got blue face Leicester at the bottom there as well. So it's a really, really fun scarf to wear. I'll just pop it on for you. There you go. It's a really, really nice scarf to wear. I really enjoyed making it, and it's got such lovely colours in it. So much texture in it as well, so that will be going in my Etsy shop as well. I've done the photographs for that as well now, so I'll pop that in my Etsy shop, my next update. Yeah, it is kind of reversible as well. You can have the texture on the inside and just wear it as a flat texture kind of tartan effect on the other side, but I like it with the texture on it. That's it for today. I don't think I have anything else to share. I will be recording another episode in the next few days, so I'm hoping to do an episode every fortnight. I want to try and update my shop regularly so that then you can see new items that I'm making. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that every 2 weeks. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now because it's all of a sudden gone very busy. There's people around and there's chainsaws and there's aircraft, so yeah, I'll leave it there for today. I will include some video footage at the end as well of the lambs that I saw today and the walk that I went on, just to show you a little bit of the scenery that is around my home. So if you do like my videos, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye for now. Bye.